It's Blake's Buzz Live. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blake's Buzz Live. It's Wednesday, it's 9. We're doing it all the time, once a week, sort of all the time. We got some cool books to talk about tonight, and I'm really excited, and I really hope we're live right now, because Riverside is telling me we're live. I can see myself. Oh, fuck, thank God. I was scared. Give me a minute. I was a little scared. All right, we got some cool people. We got some cool books. I'm getting ready. Let's bring them out. All right, first up, let's go. This is kind of my new boss. So like, I hope like show up and praise this awesome person I'm about to bring out. They are an inker, a writer, a cosplayer, a model, and the owner of Laguna Studios. This is the campaign fulfillment queen, Lori Foster. Let's go! Whoa! What's up, Lori?
There's so much energy behind that. I feel like I don't have enough energy now.
Oh, we'll be good. We'll make it. It'll be great. It'll be great. How's it going? How are things? I know you're always busy in the warehouse. We're glad to get you out of it. You're not throwing around huge wheels of bubble wrap. You're free, chilling. How's life?
Oh my God, it's good. It's stressful, but it's a good stress. Of course, we've all heard about the diamond bullshit recently, so that's something we've been contending with here, figuring out how we're going to distribute our comics.
Yes.
In stores now, because that's just a garbage fire.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I feel it's like every day is something else. Yeah, I feel like it's like we're not gonna make this easy or painless, or it's just it's like when you finally get out of a real bad relationship. You're like out in the middle of the street, you're throwing each other's clothes in the curb. You're kicking and screaming. Your neighbors are like, "Do we call the cops?" I don't know. Does anybody else feel like that's what Diamond is right now? I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but
no, 100%. For a while I was like, okay, maybe it's just people are panicking for no reason, and like it's gonna be okay and it'll stabilize, and then I just keep getting like a new email with a new news article, and I'm just like, okay, never mind.
Well, we'll have to see what I think. That's something a lot of us have been dealing with in numerous levels of the industry, regardless of kind of what you're doing. It's been another weird thing for indie comics to have to deal with. And on top of that, I don't know. I was going to segue into a weird indie comic thing to deal with, and you have to talk to me. But I lost the train of thought. But I was like the other indie comic thing you had to deal with, so I apologize. On that note, I'll give you a break for just a half a second because we got to bring out a couple more awesome people. Let's get ready. This next guest is another cool cat, a Kubert School graduate. He's a writer and co-founder of a Wave Blue World, writer and creator of an amazing series, MEZO, that I'm so stoked to talk about. Mr. Tyler Chit Tanner is here to talk about books and cool shit. Woo!
I was not prepared for that level.
No one is. No one ever is.
Oh.
Great to be here, though. Thank you.
I'm glad. I'm super glad that when I was a lot of supers, you sent me books, so I got to kiss your ass. But they're really cool. You sent me cool, good books, which is awesome. They weren't books where I had to be like, oh no, what do I say?
That's good to hear.
No, yes, they're so great. I'm so stoked to talk MEZO. Real quick, how are you? How are things? You just got like a big a warehouse facility. You're like moving into a new thing.
An art store. Yeah. Besides dealing with Diamond, as Lori was saying, I feel the same. I did not expect it to go this bad. I didn't have high expectations, but I didn't expect it to go this badly. And I haven't figured out distribution yet, but we are opening up an art store / independent publishing resource center. So it is a big space. It's more space than you could use for an art store. So the front section will be art supplies, mostly comic book related. The back section is going to be some shipping, some storage, going to have some packing tables, print out the labels, do the packing, and do that for Wave Blue World books, and possibly open it up to other creators in Brooklyn or the area if they need some space. Kind of make it a bit of a community, comics orientated, get people out, get together, working together, that type of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely love that. I love what you guys do. I love the show you run. I love the voice and the image that you put out, right? You know, very much living and breathing that comics are for everyone. Same with you, Lori, stuff you do at Laguna. I love that, and I love that the community needs more of both of you. And yeah, so I'll go back to kissing both your asses in just a moment, but I got to bring out another guest real quick, and I got to kiss more. It's so. I mentioned in the green room how hard it is for podcast. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's. I'm just kidding. I get to talk to amazing, creative, wonderful people instead of. I don't know, what would I do right now? Read, I guess. I'd probably read. You guys are taking me away from books. So it's your fault. It's your fault that I'm illiterate. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Wow, I'm already zooming off the rails. All right, so let's do. We got one more guest. He's been on the show. He's been on the show a few times, 3, 4 times. I think this is the fourth time he's been on the show. I wrote him a nice little intro this time, though. All right, you guys ready for this? All right, we've got 2019 Mad Cave Talent Search winner, a member of DC's New Talent Milestone Showcase, writer of Twin Blades, All the Devils Are Here, Crash and Troy, and some other awesome anthology books, and he's joining the team for MEZO to make it even better. Mr. Jared Lujan is here.
Wow.
We haven't seen him. We didn't know where he was. He's here. I found him. What's up, baby? How you doing?
I'm good. When you say it all like that, I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna hit somebody. You know, like I was like, let's do this. You know, wow, yeah. I wrote those things. Yes.
You did. You wrote shit out of them. Dude, it's so good to see you. I mentioned, I know, and I'm jealous of your escape of social media, but I know I'm not the only one who misses you being around, and I know, you were struggling with momentum in comics, and I know you started kind of, looking at prose and looking at other writing projects and stuff, which I don't blame you on. But yeah, I was, dude. When Tyler hit me up and he was like, "Hey, can Jared and I come on?" I was like, "Jared?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I don't even care about you, Tyler." I was like, "Get out of here." He was like, "Blake, I'll send you books." I was like, "Whatever, fine, you can come too." No, I'm just kidding. But I was very glad, dude, to see you pop up and find out you were joining this cool project. And you're a great writer, man. You tell cool stories, and I like reading them.
Yeah, I'm okay. I've just really kind of been sort of in my own hidey hole, right? I'm like sort of a not super social person to begin with, but I kind of like forced myself to be so that I could, be more public facing and stuff like that. But it's been really nice. I know I really miss the community. I've got like a lot of friends that I have to catch up. I'm on a couple of social medias for the duration of the Kickstarter campaign. So if you're like looking for me around, I'll be posting around before I disappear again. And then every now and then I show up when I have a new rap song I want my friends to listen to. and I'm like, "Here, check this out." And then I disappear again, but I'll be around.
Nice. I sort of tried to disappear. I quit doing the show for a minute, and then I missed it. Because because the nice people like Sarah Landauer who tune in every week, and like she's been on the show a couple times too. But yeah, it's just this. We do have a great community, and the community's treated me very, 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 very well. Well. Like, I don't know why. It freaks me out. Like, I know we're gonna get to talk to you about your books, but it's my show. We're gonna talk about me for just a second. It's my time, baby. It's you guys can write forever. No, but I really appreciate everybody. And just like Michael Adams, who is sponsoring the show right now, go to geckoadams.com. I'm sorry, check out his art. He is phenomenal. Like Scotty Young, this dude's way better. I love. They're both awesome. But it's just people reached out to me. It's just it's nice being a little baby that everybody takes care of. I don't know why. I feel like I'm like the baby in the old dinosaur sitcom though. Like I'm annoying and no one really likes me. I'm kind of cute sometimes maybe. I don't know. I'm really good about screaming out comics. So let's just go with that. Let's just forget everything I said. Move into talking comics. Let's go. You guys have an amazing book live on Kickstarter right now. By the way, all the books we talk about tonight are linked in the YouTube description, on Facebook, and everywhere. You can find the links anywhere you look at them. So they're real easy to find, real easy to track down. You guys are doing this real cool book called MEZO, and I have seen it passed around because you guys do some amazing you were selling some amazing remarks for a while. I remember like the trades like had you would do the real cool remarks in the corner of some of the characters. They just looked gorgeous, and I always remember seeing the trades. And I finally got to read these things, and they're not just beautiful outside. These are some absolutely jaw-dropping, gorgeous comics inside. Also, bloody and violent and crazy, semi-historical fiction. It's laced in history and culture, but made anew with beasts and lore and war. Fuck yeah, guys! It's really good. Like I love this book. Like Adam Barnhart, when I took the picture of it and was like, look what you guys sent me, Adam Barnhart like commented, and he was like, dude, no, MEZO's dope. And I was like, it's right, MEZO's dope. Everybody stop what you're doing. I'll wait. Go to Kickstarter, back this book, get all 3 volumes. I'll go to Kickstarter and get all 3 volumes. That's what I would do. And I'm pretty sure if you're broke like me, you can get 3 digital volumes for a fairly good price. We'll pull up the page shortly, but dude, where did this come from, Tyler? This is a huge project with a lot of research that you then manipulated. So you like did this research and then made it your own. And now you're bringing in like a co-writer. So like, just real like, how did this crazy thing happen? How did Jared get involved? What is going on in your brain, dude?
It's been a joint project, a lot of community. I've been part of it from the beginning, but I really love bringing on new voices and talent. My idea originally was just a fantasy series. I had some stories going on in my head, but I didn't really know what to do with it. The original artist, he's really more of sort of a character designer. Josh Singerman, also a Hubert student, wanted to do something in the Aztec Maya world. And we were talking about doing a project together. And I was like, oh my God, that's a fabulous idea. So, I have to give him credit for that. But yeah, I immediately got to researching, finding all the information I could about these cultures, their history. That's tough to find. I mean, a lot of stuff was destroyed throughout history. So doing my best to get the archaeological books and the things on there, the mythology, and created this fantasy world. And we did a lot of back and forth. Like he would draw characters and scenes, and I would start writing something. And then he had to leave to do storyboarding, and we brought on Val Rodriguez, who's been pretty much the artist from the beginning. Like Josh designed most of the characters, but Val took from volume 1 was doing the art, and he would start drawing things. So a really collaborative process. Yeah, I did a lot of research, but I wanted to keep it really fun. All the things that I loved about fantasy: big creatures, lots of swords, other weapons, fighting, some magic, some ancient mysticism. You play with religion and empires and things like that. Just making this really large scale thing, right? That once I realized, like, oh man, I got to keep this going. And then of course getting to work with Jared and seeing what he did for Your Away from the World with Crash and Troy, but also Twin Blades. I was like, well, this guy, I need to pass the baton off to this guy. He's a great writer. He obviously loves this kind of material. I want to see what he does with it. And it was interesting because I brought him on for volume 3, which is sort of like the end of this trilogy, this first sort of story arc, which I thought was good because let's get him in now, and I really want to see where we take it from here. But it's been great working with Jared, just like it's been great working with Val and Josh. And our colorist, Gab was our main colorist.
Gab is so good at everything.
So, yeah. And then Tommy does some interesting things. Tommy Varia, he's from Hungary, does some interesting things with the flashback because he has a more painterly, which I think gives it a different, it's still Val's line work, but gives it a different feel for the flashbacks. So, and I got to shout out Pete for production and lettering too. So it's been a real joint project. I just love this concept. I just want to see it continue. I don't even feel like I feel very connected to it, but I don't feel like it's all like mine or anything. It's all of ours. It's this community that we're building, and I just would love to get more people reading it and loving it as much as you have and some other people have. I feel like when people read it, take the time to get in, they really love it. So I'm just trying to build that up as best I can.
Yeah, hard pressed to see what kind of asshole like really gives this a shot and just is like, like I feel like you gotta like try. But real, I do apologize. I got to segue to our final guest. We had some technical difficulties, and it's okay because things happen, and that's life, right? It's World War III's going on. Sometimes the live stream isn't working great, and we're gonna deal with it, and we're gonna love each other. I'm so weird. I'm sorry. We're gonna be weird, but we're gonna talk about comics, and we're gonna do it together, and we're gonna bring out a really cool illustrator. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? All right. So this cartoonist has worked for Image, IDW, Red 5, numerous others. She's the creator of numerous web comics, including the one we're here to talk about, Finding Dee. Dee Fisher is in the house. What's up, Dee Fish? I'm so sorry. I said your name wrong. Fuck, Dee Fish. Oh, I'm so sorry, Dee. I'm so sorry. Hi.
You don't have to be sorry. I'm the one that's just getting here.
Yeah, that was my. Right, I said your name wrong because you were late. I'm a huge prick of a host. Dee Fish. Dee, I love your art. It is hilarious.
Thank you.
And your story is so intriguing. We'll talk about it soon, and because you can obviously tell your story better than I can. I can't even get your fucking name right. Oh God. Okay, we'll get there, folks. I promise. But I love this book. My old job, we did a little bit of work on the trades. I got to see these a while back on some of the production side, and yeah, it's so funny, and I love how you take like really big moments that like, a lot of people may not can't identify with like those kinds of body changes or those kinds of looks you get from people, right? And I love how you take those and you make these universal moments that bring us in, right? And then fucking make us laugh out of nowhere too. It's absolutely pure genius, and I love your work, and I'm so stoked to talk to you about it. So yeah, you come to my show anytime. Show up anytime you want. 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late. As long as you keep pumping out the jams on those panels, you do whatever you want, Dee.
Well, thank you.
How are you? How's your night? How are things?
It's very, 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 very hot. You can probably see from how red my face is. It feels about 10 degrees hotter in the house than it is outside, and that's with all the air conditioners and fans going. It's just nothing is cracking it, and it turned my brain to pudding.
Where are you streaming from?
I'm actually in West Pennsylvania. You'd think it wouldn't be this bad, but this is like where all the heat is centered right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
how hot is it?
Today it was just mid-90s.
Okay.
And this house that we're in is 110 or 115 years old. Its insulation is hope and wishful thinking.
Yeah.
So in the winter it's hot, and I like that, and I'm happy with that. In the summer, we're on the top of a hill, so there is no shade. So the sun, like, here's our house, here's the sun all day, just like fuck. And then my partner Heidi and I, we've been tag teaming, bringing our dog. We have a poodle, and he's 13 years old. He's a little crotchety old man now, so we've been bringing him with us to our various jobs, just because we have air conditioning there that works.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Yeah, it got to like 92 in KC today, so not like terrible, but it's humid. But I mean, yeah, we have air conditioning, but I've noticed that when I stream, I because I get loud and yell a lot, and I sweat, and it's just like I'm like, and then like after this, because like usually you go hour and a half, however long they go, but it's so weird. Like after this, I'm like, I'm all like sweating. I'm like, I'm exhausted. Like it's again hard to be a podcaster. And I mean, it's a joke. It's not. It's easy. Anybody can podcast, and apparently anybody shouldn't podcast. The rapper guys said, which I kind of don't like. I don't not like even as a podcaster, I didn't really agree with that statement because he like called out Joe Rogan. He was like, "Fucking people like Joe Rogan have microphones and huge platforms," and it's like he's not wrong. Like it's like, oh, what are they making better? Like I don't, like the guy who owns Caffeine Gum, I'm sure he loves Joe Rogan, but like it's if you're not that guy, Anyway, we're not here. We're not here to talk about. I know everybody tuned in to talk about Joe Rogan with me, but that's next week. I'm just kidding. Dee, I'm so stoked to talk about your book, and we will get to that. But yeah, we were talking about MEZO, and I guess this is a good segue. Jared, while I'm bringing this up, how do you want to like what happened? How did Tyler reach out to you? What were the thoughts when you got brought in on this project, or did you have to like pitch something? Like how did this work? Did he reach out to you? Did you guys meet at a con? Is there like a magic story? You don't really go to cons, so that probably didn't happen. But yeah, so fill me in on this. Let me know.
So I do want to brag really quickly. It's been over 100 degrees in Texas since April. So my heart is like particularly with you guys. I know that it sucks all the time. But Texas sucks like every day of the week. But anyway, Tyler and I know each other through Crash and Troy.
I keep forgetting that move too. Yeah,
it did.
I have a pull quote on that book. I'm a great host. I'm the best host in podcasting.
And maybe you're just watching and you're like, oh, what? Blake has a quote. Yeah, it's called Crash and Troy. It's awbw.com. Yeah, but you can also go to the Kickstarter page first. So Tyler took that book that was sort of became its sort of own issue, gave us a home, got us able to distribute the book. So we knew each other through there. I've made it very clear that Tyler's a good dude. We get along really well. I like working with him. I was really happy with how Crash and Troy rolled out at Wave Blue World. And so he kind of emailed me a ways after that and was like, hey, do you read MEZO? Have you read MEZO? And I was like, I'm pretty sure that I've read the first trade, but it had been a minute. And he was like, well, I'm going to send you the books and you can read them. Because he's like, I want you to think about joining on for the So I will for the third volume. So I ended up reading both of them. I've probably read them multiple times at this point because it's really like up my alley, right? Like before I was ever part of the creative team, like I really loved this book. Val did a book at Vault years ago called Deep Roots, and and I was a big fan of Val art, so I also really been eager to. I also really like Gab Contreras as a colorist. Never gotten to work with Gab on a book either, so I took this as the one chance that it kind of lined up. We didn't have an opportunity, or it didn't line up for her schedule. So we were able to I was able to work with people that I was really excited to work with. I haven't done co-writing, but I thought this was like the perfect project for me to do co-writing in because there's so much going on, because it's such a big fantasy story, this big wide scope. I really liked that I kind of came into it a little bit, a couple seasons in, I guess, I got to kind of enjoy it as a fan and then say, okay, so what are the things that I really like about this that Tyler did? What are these relationships that I'm really obsessed with? Because there's like a couple of them. And that was kind of what I got to go into this really exciting scenario with these characters I already liked, with these relationships I already liked. And I got to kind of add my own twist to just taking them and what I wanted to see them doing. So it was all really, organic. I mean, Tyler had scripts done on some of them, and so some of them I got to go back, which is also secret. I'm a big dialogue freak, and then just getting to kind of like go in and sort of mess with the endings. Really, where I got to show. I think those last 2 issues. I've said multiple times. I think the last issue is my best writing to be published up to date. I really think that last issue, for lack of a better term, kicks ass. And I am really excited for people to read it and people to see it and get to see a different side of my writing, because I really, if you followed my work, if you followed Crash and Troy and All the Devils Are Here, right? MEZO's so different and what it offers, but it's also very much a Jared Lujan story, right? I love the Mesoamerican culture stuff. Love a big bad guy with a sword. It's so much of it is already like pre teed up for me that I was kind of like, perfect. I can jump and take the rest, or I could jump in and do something special, do something really cool with this stuff.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it. I'm not gonna try. The swords that they use, though, I remember, like, because they talk about them in I think volume 2, maybe, like, there you mentioned them and talk about them, and I remember I was like, shit, I learned about those in Twin Blades, like, and I was like, but yeah, there's especially like the, I don't know, the Fagor, like he kind of reminds me of like Twin, like he seemed like he seems like a baddie, you know, like, I don't know, and it's just like they both like those like hulking Judge Dredd, you know, like those like 2000 AD kind of vibes and stuff. Like I got a lot of Twin Blades, you know, part of it like modernizing the culture and putting your own spins. Yeah, there's a lot of similar vibes you guys are doing, but yeah, it definitely feels like a project you were meant for, and like I'm excited to read it because and you get to like play around, you know, like when you hear those guys that are getting to write like G.I. Joe and Transformers right now, right? And they're like, I'm getting to like write these stories, these toys I played with as a kid, you know? And you're like, you love these toys, and you get to like play in the sandbox with them. So I'm stoked. The volume 2 cliffhanger is quite intense. Like, so like I need that. I need to get to know what happens. But yeah, I'm stoked to see it, because I feel like it's gonna be violent and mean and intense, and probably emotionally intense too. And I'll probably cry. I feel like I'll probably cry.
Yeah, like you guys are gonna make the end really delivers. Jared was not, you know, overstating that. I love the end of this volume. I can't wait for it to be out and have the 3 volumes, and I think people are going to be very satisfied with this 3-volume set, but also be ready for more and see where Jared takes it from there.
Yeah, because you're calling it like a trilogy, like this is like completing an arc and a story, but the world is rich enough for whatever you guys want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. I mean, like, I'll watch people ride around on giant hawks and tree people like all day. Oh my God.
I'm calling it the initial trilogy. Okay. You know, finding that balance there. Like, yes, this will be a nice, satisfying 3-volume chunk, you know, sort of like Star Wars or something like that. But we hope to do more from there.
Very cool. And yeah, like, so the Kickstarter, I mean, you got the Kickstarter's fair, like, you're right at a weekend, right? So you're at like 53 backers, 2,400 of your 6,000 goal. So you're cruising. You're also coming up in that like boring, well, it's the boring / stressful Kickstarter time, right? Where like shit just somebody please do something. But like I said, like, you bundles, the digital packs, and I just noticed you can read one for free, right?
No, the whole first volume. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So you can click that link in the description, folks. Go right over there and you can read a PDF, like a reviewer copy PDF, see if you're into it. And like, I love it when you guys do that, because it always means the book is really fucking good. You know, no one like gives you, you know, if you got bad drugs, you're not like giving, you know, you're not like, you know, you're like, you're selling them and running away. You know, you're not like get the first taste is free, you know.
Tyler's gonna get snatched off camera.
But I like, you know, Dee, you do. It's similar with Webtoon and stuff. I mean, I know like your website, you get traction and ads, and it's kind of like a different world when you're kind of posting stuff and let people, you know, consume it at their leisure and just kind of put it out there. what's it like transitioning to that? Like when you and Lori got together and put the trades together.
It's always been like I've always worked for the book. The strips are proportioned specifically to be book ready to begin with. And I've been self-publishing black and white collections as I've gone. But yeah, with getting to when Lori and I started getting together and talking about this stuff, getting to adapt it for color and really make something a lot more special out of it, it was a lot of fun. It's a different beast, especially because it's autobiographical comics. They are a lot of them are like time coded, for lack of a better term. Like they are specified for specific points in time and in my life. So sometimes putting together the books from material that's 5, 6, or 7 years old is a little weird, because it's like, it's not just an older story. It's literally something that happened to me about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know if I answered the question right. I'm kind of rambling.
No, you know what's cool about creative, talented people? When you all ramble, it's interesting. So like, it's good. Like, I keep rambling. But no, one of your shorts is about that. When your partner finds or the Facebook memories, right? And they're like, oh, like these were like really good times, but this wasn't you, you know? And you're like, wait, awesome cartoonist. She took all the pictures and drew all of them, like, and I don't know, like little stuff like that. It's like, it's so funny and like, and also like pure, right? And I don't know, it's very powerful. These collections were powerful. I was going to ask too, if it was, so these got colored you guys colored these for the trade paperback collections? They were originally black and white?
The webcomic, as it runs online at findingdee.com, it runs every Monday, new strip, and they're black and white, except tomorrow there'll be a new strip about the heat, and that has some spot color in it. I'll do spot color, like there's a storyline where our power went out, and when our power goes out in the house, we don't have flashlights. We have lightsabers. So the lightsabers would be spot colored in the strip. But yeah, Lori, she showed me a handful of colorists, and we ended up going with an amazing colorist, Katie Rooston, who does a wonderful, wonderful job on bringing these things to life. I was working with her today, helping her pick out colors for some stuff for upcoming volumes, and yeah, I have a lot of projects on my plate. I have the day job, I have Finding Dee, I have, freelance other projects that I'm working on, other comics. I'm writing werewolf novels. I'm very, very busy, and I tend to lean towards volume. So color, I can color. Like I color the covers and stuff like that. I'll cover pinups, or I'll color pinups. But I don't like doing it really. It's like pulling teeth. So getting the books done in color was just such a huge win that I didn't have to do.
Cool. Yeah, I love them. I looked at, because when I was looking at the site, I noticed, because there's the Jaws like homage up right now, and like,
yep.
And it's colored, but then I noticed like they started going into black and white, and I was like, oh, cool. But anyway, they look, whatever they're in, they're hilarious and gorgeous, color or grayscale. But Lori, are you the Lori that pops up in these strips sometimes, that like is encouraging her to like market harder or do weird shit, or like, is that you? Or is she calling you out?
That is that Lori. There technically is a Lori that appears in the first few strips, and that's based on a local bartender. And I changed the name for that, and it just, because that was more of a fictionalized version, but she hasn't appeared in the strip in a long time. So all current Loris are Lori.
I figured it was, because it was like there's the one joke where you're like, if you don't the like supplemental back matter, which by the way, good back matter is awesome, and the trades we're talking about tonight both have good back matter. Oh wow, that's so cool! Like, you just like extra stuff that you get for like reading comics. I love it. But the the marketing stuff you guys did were like the little postcards, like were like the single panel jokes. Like a lot of them were funny, but there was the one where you're like, all right, if we don't get like another follower, like the top comes off and like Lori's like the devil on your shoulder, like, no, do it. Like I was like, there's a lot of smart marketing stuff, real fun. Yeah, you have a great sense of humor and an amazing story.
Thank you.
And yeah, I was really stoked when Lori was like, "Can Dee come on your show?" I was like, "Duh!" Like, hey, I don't have to like set it up. Yeah, like that's the best when people just reach out and they're like, "Can we just schedule?" I'm like, "Yeah, do it, great." And then I just get to sit here and say weird shit in the microphone and just reel in the riches. It's amazing. And people send me books like Tyler. It's great, awesome.
The riches,
right? Just rolling in it. But it's, I mentioned back matter. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and it's, a lot of people aren't. I feel like a lot of people aren't really ever prepared for it. Like, Lori, do you get that a lot? Like when you're building trades, are you like, are people like, oh well, I don't know what to do with 4 extra pair? Like, or do they kind of ask you what to do, or do they kind of know? Do they come with an idea of like, hey, I got some of this extra stuff we used and da da da.
I feel like it's mixed depending on who I'm working with. With Dee, like Dee was making up crazy ads for like the entire Kickstarter campaign, so she was like, oh yeah, I got tons of shit to put. I have fan, we have fan art, we have these ads. Let's put all this. Sometimes with other projects, we kind of go back and we look at what we've collected over time, and then figure out like, okay, what haven't people seen yet? What can be designed? What can look good in here? What's new and exciting? Because I feel like people want to see cool new stuff when you have a trade.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody does the cover gallery, and they're nice because like I just reviewed the new Ninja Turtle volume, right? And it's like I definitely can't afford 50 covers and variants of issue 1, so like getting a cover gallery was, all the different artists drawing turtles was cool. You guys all utilize cover galleries to an extent, a little bit, okay. I don't know what happened. But like I'm like the MEZO back matter, like the pages look different. You got like just like the design elements and the borders of the pages, and then you talk about like your research and your process and how some of these things changed. I thought it was really well done, and it took me in, it brought me into another element of the story. Right. And it's, it wasn't just a cover gallery. It wasn't just script excerpts. It wasn't just like, I don't not like those things, but we see them all the time. So especially on Kickstarter, you got to kind of start thinking like, what can we do different? What's going to make this pop? What's going to make this stick out? And I think both of you, both of these books, you all did a really great job on that. Like Dee using marketing material and a little bit of sketch stuff and a little bit of personal essay, some of that, and Tyler making me interested in research. Like what that's weird, I was into it, and it's such an intriguing culture, right? Because I remember like being as a kid and like learning about human sacrifices, right? And it was just like, you're like, whoa, that was like a normal part of the world, and it's just, and so there was like all this, you learn about these cultures, and there's all these other things and art and music and dance and the ritual around it, and it's just, I don't know, man, it was crazy, and I would have never thought to take that world and you kind of put like a Tolkien, I say Tolkien just because it's like fantasy and it's big and there's giant birds, right? But it's not really Tolkien, it's different. You've been compared to Game of Thrones, which I don't think anybody would be super mad at, unless they were like specifically like, it is just like the 8th season of Game of Thrones. Like it is exactly like no, it's nothing. It's great. But yeah, it's very cool, and I can tell that. And I know I've known Lori for a while, and they're big production nerds over there, right? So they're always trying to make beautiful books, better books, things that you're proud to hold and read and put on your shelf, right? And you're doing the same, Tyler. And I really think in this market on Kickstarter, everything's getting more expensive. I really think you got to do that. So yeah, all you guys, I love that you shouted out your designer, Tyler. That's awesome. And like illustrators, artists, writers, like keep your scraps. Like we just can't really, we just recently, like, we're looking at like notebook sketches for a project on a thing the other, and seeing how we could like incorporate them. People take notes on napkins and stuff, depending on where, so like save that stuff. You never know. Like you can scan it and make back matter out of it. And then charge extra for it on Kickstarter and make money. It's great.
Or just include it as part of the rewards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like, Dee? How involved were you in for like with Lori? Like, were you? You seem like a chill person, but but like, are you like leaning over people? Like, no, because this is your art. This is your art, and it's such a personal story, part of your life, right? Is it hard to like let people mess around with it, or are you like, do you like have?
So as far as like with the books, like the thing I had to let go of the most is the coloring. I had to and trust her to do what she did, which is not to say I didn't go back in and tweak a lot of things as I saw, like, oh, this could be, touched up. But as far as the actual production of the book, exceedingly hands-on in that I designed all of the interior stuff. I laid out the pages. I did the like the credits page, the titles page, the actual book design itself. I am very particular about stuff like that. So I'm trying to think. I don't think I even gave you an option to not have me do that, Lori.
No. No, but I know that you're a designer anyway. Like, it was easy. He was like, well, this is how I want to do it. And then she would just send it to me. And if there were any tweaks, I would tell her. But, like, yeah. I mean, Dee was the best candidate to do it. So.
Yeah, it's my baby. And I'm very, very particular about how I want everything to look, so I'm particular about the font choices. I'm particular about the color choices. So that's like, even when it came that time to, okay, we're going to be, marketing the campaign, and like, okay, I'm going to start putting together ads. So every single social media, I've got, if it's, clipped art from the book itself or art for like a calendar 5 years ago or something. A lot of stuff like that went into the book. There was a lot of original art I made specifically for the campaign. Most of it's all in the back of the book because the strip had been black and white for years. So it was a heavy emphasis on, hey, it's in color now. So there's that Wizard of Oz parody. There was the flash dance where I'm laying on my back and hitting myself with the rainbow. So I did a lot of original art pieces for it. I recycled older art pieces that I had done for different projects for promotions. Built all the branding for that. I was very, very hands-on. I don't feel like I was overly demanding in that regard, but mostly because I didn't release the reins enough for anybody to have a hole.
Whose idea was the booby mouse pad? I'm guessing this is real. This was a real thing because it's very specifically says this was a thing from the Kickstarter can. Of course. Hold on, I'm gonna put this away so we can make those bigger.
Mine are still in bags because I sell them. But Heidi has one of these at her office.
Phenomenal. I love it. That cracked me up. All right, so I guess Dee, real quick. We've been dancing around it. Let's. What can you pitch the audience your story, these books, how this strip came to be.
Okay, so the elevator pitch that I do at shows and what I've been revising, but it's the Finding D is it's the semi autobiographical story about the ins and outs of coming out as transgender in your 40s, 50s now, while trying to make it in comics and just find a safe place to pee. I came out as trans in 2016. So right when the world began to end, I decided to come out. I spent the better part of a year working on my other comic projects. I was doing a webcomic called Dandy and Company for years at that point. I'd had other projects I was working on, a graphic novel called The Wellkeeper, and I was working on all these, and the friends that I still had, the ones that stuck around, kept saying, oh, Dee, you should make a comic about this, oh, you've got all these cool stories about coming out. You should do a comic about this. You should do a comic about this. You should do a comic about this. And I was writing a blog that I called Finding D. I didn't think about the marketing of the name. I just that's a good name for a blog. It wasn't a product. It wasn't anything. And it was insanely negative. Like within days, I was just woe is me-ing the world. I was like, oh, I got, people staring at me. I got this negative experience. This bad thing happened. And I'm one of those people, they can vent and it makes them feel better. I vent and it just makes me more upset.
Is that like Catholic guilt? Like you feel guilty for burdening people, or is it something else?
I have no idea, but that's probably a little bit there. I'm not Catholic in any way, shape, or form, but I know that power.
That still gets me from a kid, like that random guilt over nothing.
So, yeah, I've been doing web comics and comic strips. Like that is my primary passion as a creator. I've always wanted to make comic strips. I've got behind me on the wall is the first one I drew back in 1982 when I was in grade school, and it's the characters that are eventually from Dandy and Company. So I mean, I've been working with those characters for over 40 years. And so that format really worked for me. Like, okay, so, and I was already in Dandy and Company. I was a character. I was the cartoonist. I would pop in every now and again, and the characters would yell at me or whatever, or I would yell at them and make them do things. So I came out in the strip. So like, Dandy goes like, "Why am I not in any of these upcoming strips enough? It's my comic. I'm the main character." And the hell? I'm like, and I was like just sitting there, and explaining the concept of I'm transgender and this, and my name is Dee. And like, okay, Dee, why am I not in these strips anymore? And I came out in the strip, so technically it's a spin-off. It just started, same exact format, same exact style. I just started. I hit the ground running. I didn't sit there and do character designs or, run through anything. I just started. I kept the same name as the blog. I didn't think about it from a marketing standpoint or anything like that, which is weird for me. Normally I overthink all this stuff, but this time I just started and people started responding. Like, I was touching nerves. I was getting reactions from people. People were going, wow, this is just like my life. But I wasn't just getting other transgender people. I was just getting people. And very quickly realized that's what the comic is about. It's not about a transgender woman. It's about a woman who's a cartoonist, who's this, who's that, and who being transgender is one of those things. In the same way that being tall, overweight, klutzy, late for podcasts, whatever. It's just a modifier. It's just a descriptive term like anything else, and that's what the strip's heart really is about. It only ever comes up in the strip as often as it comes up in my everyday life, which is not that often unless something is going on in the world that I need to be worried about or thinking about or stressed about, or somebody's going to say or do something that's going to make it a point.
Which sounds like a lot lately, though.
Increasing.
Yeah.
Increasing. We had to go to Walmart to get some groceries when we got off of work, and ever since roughly the beginning of November of last year, the number of crappy stares and looks and glares that I get when we are going through a store increased maybe 3 times. Like, if I got 2 or 3 people giving me that stink eye, we get about 10 now. I have a certain degree of privilege in the fact that because I'm 6'2" and 260 pounds, most people don't actually get in my face, and I accept that privilege, even though I have the upper body strength of a noodle, and always have. It's like, oh, I very much appreciate that you think I might be dangerous, so you're not going to say these things to my face, but, you know. Yeah, but it's frustrating, and it's completely meaningless. It's a completely fabricated tension that was simply created to get votes and get people angry and create this controversy that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, it sucks, and it's crazy because like I remember when it was like gay marriage was like the thing for a while, right? And they like had to control that, and then like now they're not worried about. So it's just always something. I still remember one of the I'm in crazy student loan debt, but one of the best things I ever learned was in a Gothic lit class, and Dr. Nancy Cervetti, like. Because it was a private university, so there was a lot of Christian kids in these classes, and she was like when she would talk about like evolution and stuff, people would like scoff, and it was like, oh god, it was weird. But anyway, like she said like the best way to like gain absolute control over anyone is to control their body, and like and she was like that's what all this shit is about, and this was over a decade ago. So anyway, but there was something interesting, Dee, because you talk about like there's several strips of it where people are like, well, why don't you write about coming out? Why don't you write about your trans experience, your experience, your life, like write about this, and your kind of hesitation to do that. Jared, you went through something similar to that. You talked to me about it a couple times because you felt like a lot of these pitches and stuff that you took to publish felt like they wanted some barrio crime story, and when you came at them with like something else, and it was like they expected that from you and they weren't getting that, so they weren't interested, right? And you kept fighting against that, and you're telling these like enriching like cultural stories like with the Wave Blue World and stuff, but like how do you know when to fight against it, and like I mean obviously when it's like fucking racist and lame, right, you fight against it, but like in like a career standpoint, when like if like money's nudging you in a way you may not want to go, how do you make those decisions on like when to, I'm not saying compromise your character, but like, or compromise your art, but like, when sometimes you got to take the money, right? And you, as long as I've known you, you've like vehemently fought against like notions like, it's like, no, you don't have to take the money. And but it's some people still do, so it's like, what goes on in your mind? Like in those moments, like, cause we've talked about people sign these contracts. You've been part of that. People get these contracts and they get fucked over and they kind of get bullied into stuff, and it happened to me. I got bullied into a lot of shit in my old job because I was like, I'm working in comics, and like, but it was so like, how do you like stay true to that and still progress your career, I guess is the question I'm stumbling around.
So, to be clear, right, the immigrant thing. I got asked to do immigrant stories because I was Mexican like all the time. To say that it hasn't hurt my career would be me lying to everybody here. But I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want, I watched a video the other day about Jonathan Joss, may he rest in peace. he was talking about being pigeonholed. It took him 10 years to get like off of a horse, right? It was 10 years in film before they stopped letting him be on a horse whenever he was on camera. And he was like okay with that to some extent, right? It's a bit of a complicated issue that he went into, but for me, I was like, no, I can make money doing something else. There's lots of money out there. I could make it doing anything else. I am not interested in making it in a way that not even is harmful to me, right? Because people do it all the time, right? And again, I don't want everyone to go around and be like, oh, I'm shitting on immigrant stories again. No, I see their importance. But when that's all that the industry wants to publish, it's putting us in a box. I'm not interested in doing that. The only thing that I could imagine being worse to betraying myself like that would be to betray other writers that are from a similar background into not fighting for that future, right? And that's sort of like why stories like MEZO are so fucking sick, right? Like MEZO is a completely opposite side of where you would go with that and where you would go with traditional Latin storytale, right? It takes inspiration while being its own thing at the same time. And I really think that should be that needs to be a bigger part of our conversation in comics is not just diversifying, but diversifying the stories, right? Diversify these people's viewpoints. Because I am from the barrio. I don't give a shit. I love it. I will when I'm dead, they'll put on my tombstone something about the North Side, and I don't give a shit. I don't care how any of these people feel about it. But I know how I feel about it, and I know that I love it. And I know how I feel about my culture and my people and the immigrants that I know. And I know that I love them, and I don't care how other people feel about that. They're not going to make me turn around and betray them. Anybody who, like, the North Side so the best burrito in the world, and like 2 blocks away from that you can buy drugs, like why wouldn't you want to go there? Burritos and drugs are like 50% of the reason I get up in the morning, but I really do think like, and that's what I think stories like MEZO do without being super like, oh hey, we got to put something up for Hispanic Heritage Month, shit, all right, well we'll call someone, see if someone can put together a story where I don't know. They'll go to the border or something, But instead, MEZO's this big swing that takes these big inspirations and puts them into the separate, the separate entity, the separate idea. And I think that like we've talked a lot, a little bit politics, right? But at MEZO's heart, it's also about rebelling against an empire, right? It's about, and you're witnessing. You're in the throes of an empire, baby, maybe the death of one, we don't know, but that's like why stories like MEZO are exploring things through a different cultural lens that still carry this is that the right, I don't know if I'm pronouncing all that right, universality, something like that, but this story that it already existed before I was already a part of it, was already a rejection of stereotypes that are both demeaning and pigeonholing, but also showing the universal experience that we all go to storytelling for. Like, I've been super reading a lot of history. I don't want to get too like crazy about story and how weird I feel about it now, but storytelling is such this uniquely human concept, and your brain processes it in such incredible ways, and that's why every company in the world wants to sell you a story. They don't really care about selling you soap. They care about selling you the story of the soap, because then you'll keep coming back to the soap. It's a loyalty tactic, right? And that's because these stories help us see something more than what they are. And we can do that again with people. we can explore the human experience again in ways, but you have to do it creatively on your terms and what you think you can authentically do and represent. I cannot authentically do the immigrant story. I was born and raised in Texas. My family lived here, but when they migrated north when it was still Mexico. I'm not an immigrant. I've been here since it was before it was Texas. Or my family's been here since before it was Texas. You're the immigrant. Your border shifted, that's right. So that's like an important rejection of is to put the work that you want to see out in the world. And that's what I did with Twin Blades. That's what we did with All the Devils Are Here. And that's what we're doing with MEZO, is that you have to do it in a way that's authentic and honest to yourself. And you have to do it in a way that's authentic and honest with what you can tell and what you can present to people and what you can talk about. And that's an equally important part of being a creative is, and something that's getting lost more and more and more is it's as much about your relationship to the work as it is with the work's relationship when it's out of your hands. Like, you can do everything, you said it all right, but what are you putting out into the world? What's your intention? What's the intentionality of you shoving this thing into the world? Because if it's only to reinforce the same cycle over and over again, who cares? Who cares? You're not going to do anything big and fun and revolutionary and boisterous with that, right? And I really think that's why these rebellious stories need to exist more and more. That's why I thought Kickstarter was the shit to begin with, is all these people that the comic book industry didn't want in its ranks. You know? Gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans creators that were black, creators that were Mexican, which, by the way, Twin Blades had an all-Mexican creative team before Marvel did Comunidades with an all-Mexican team. So I was already there. They're already back before me, or they're already late to me. But all these people, these marginalized people who have these incredible stories, who were being kept out of mainstream, all of a sudden, you're seeing LGBT stories making it all over the place in comics, and it's because it was fought out and by creators that were independent and who wanted to stay authentic to themselves and to the work that they create. And that shit rocks, right? Everybody knows the LGBT community in comics in particular fucking rocks. Like, it's all of my favorite, almost all of my favorite people in comics are part of that community, right? They have such this rich thing that they've really fought out for. And so, you know, like I MEZO, I'm not saying that MEZO's like, you know, the beginning of the Latinx revolution in comics, you know, but you know, we're being able to do big stories with characters that are complicated, characters that want things, some characters that want things that maybe aren't good, that like maybe they're bad people, and that's okay too, because I know a lot of shitty Mexicans too, you know, like they're all shapes and sizes, bro. You got to just explore it, and you've got to let it be authentic, so that way, because that's what resonates.
I know a lot of shitty white people.
Yeah, I know a few,
trying to make a joke, man. Damn it.
But I really just believe, like, I'm super into authentic storytelling. Tell the stories that you can tell, that you can put your heart into, and don't do anything else. That was my lesson from 2024 and 2023, right? Is like, if my heart's not all the way in it, like, I won't even get near it. Like, if I can't really commit myself to it, then I don't want to do it, right? Because, like, we exist in such a crazy time. And right now what the world needs is authenticity. That's how you rebel against this shit, is that you be your most authentic self, to quote Albert Camus, and then I promise I'll shut up. Because after you quote Albert Camus, right, you've got to shut up. You know, nobody wants you to talk anymore after you quote Camus. But it's the greatest rebellion is to live authentically, to be who you are, and to reject what they want you to be. And that's what I'm always going to do. Is I'm always going to fight for the MEZOs and the immigrant stories when they're done by proper people, right? When I don't need, you know, American Dirt Barbie writing stories about the immigration struggle, but you know, that's always what I'm going to push for, and that's always what I'm going to look for whenever I want to read and enjoy something, is authentic, even when it's bad. Damn. Who hasn't read a comic that sucked, but it was so, you could tell everybody just did everything they could, and it still has like a magnetism to it. But anyway, is that me again?
I don't know. I can't. Yeah, oh, it's D. It was D. All right. So yeah, sorry, folks. We got it.
That's the umbrella hook getting me to shut up. Sorry.
That's the worst, like the soft music to play to get off stage. It's just like, yeah. Like, anyway, sorry if anybody's listening with headphones. Anyway, it's cool. These things happen on live streams. You never know. I also agree, like with authenticity, and I agree. I agree with myself in this point I'm about to make. But I think that these two stories, MEZO and what Dee's doing in Finding Dee, they are very important right now because like these are very marginalized groups that are being dehumanized, like violently dehumanized every moment. Like I don't know what to do. Like I really don't. I don't. It's just like, and it's crazy. And there's Dee. Your strip reminded me. A few of my trans friends have been posting like because they're like demonizing you all and like trying to say that you're like these bathroom. You're haunting every bathroom in the world and no one's safe to pee and it's just like they're just people. You're all people, and that's been kind of like a trend lately of like the trans community and the queer community of just like, this is what I do in the morning, right? Like I get up and eat cereal just like you do. Like I'm not like don't have an agenda. I'm not like trying to like recruit an army against like white America and the nuclear family, and it's been kind of a trend. But that's your strip has been doing that for a long time now, and I think it's so fucking brilliant, right? And it's just like we are people, like we are fucking normal people. We're putting on makeup. We gotta shave. We get pimples. Like we got body issues just like you do. Like I don't like taking my shirt off either, right? I feel that shit, and it's just it's so dumb. And so anyway, I really love like the normalization, right? That's what I was trying. Like you're like, but it also sucks that you have to like normalize yourself, right? Is that ever aggravating? Like when you're like, do you have to like remind people like, I'm just a fucking woman, right? Like I'm just a 6 foot tall badass cartoonist woman ready to fucking slay the pages and take names, and everybody's got to have a fucking fit about it. Like,
I'm not good at kicking doors. I'm sorry. I'm not good at kicking doors in that regard. I really am not. I don't make the big declarative statement like that. I just do my shit. We were talking about that earlier, and it's like there's a reason. Like not back, I was like 5, I think. I was working real hard to break the old fashioned, and it was sucking the life out of me going through the motions, jumping through those hoops. And I'm like, I love drawing comics. I love making comics, writing stories, drawing these stories with all my fucking heart. And I pretty much decided to shift focus. Like my career is graphic design. That's what I do. That's my day job. That's where I make my money, so that I don't have to compromise on the stories that I want to tell. So that if I want to make my story, if I want to make my story as everyday pedestrian as I can make it, that's the story I want to tell 90% of the time. I want to tell the story about what goofy crap my cats are doing, or stupid conversations Heidi and I have in the car that are funny, or, weird conversations about the boob mouse pad at a convention. That's the stories I want to tell. I don't want to tell this. I don't want to sit here and draw the stories about my emotional breakdown, or the stuff that probably would get me a lot more hits and get me more attention. And if I was playing to the cliche, playing to the stereotype that the story is expected to be, I'd probably get a lot more attention than I do. But that's not the story that I want to tell. It's not my authentic story. I've got trauma, and I've got personal issues and mental issues and all the things that everyone else does, but I work really, really hard to not let that be the driving matter. Like, and that's the story telling is the story that I'm enjoying telling, and I want to tell it my way, and I do want to put that out there because, you know, when I go to, you know, I'm going to be at American Library Association conference in Philadelphia this weekend.
Cool. LA is awesome.
And going to be, I think I just lost my microphone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Hold on a second. Thing just.
Have you ever noticed? I've noticed this in years of podcasting. Anytime someone's like, "Oh wait, I can't hear anything," everybody quits talking. It never fails. Everyone's like, "Well, I can't hear anything." Everybody just sits there like.
What?
I think she's trying to come back in.
Technology.
Yeah, it's live streaming is neat. Going off with this authenticity. We had some people in the chat talk. Sarah says authenticity really is the most important thing about creating such a great message. Punk Rock Chris, what's up, dude? He says figures corporate America would fuck with talking. Hey, corporate America will make money off of anything. It's like, and if they don't like you, they'll still make money off of you somehow. It's aggravating. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm glad you guys fight for the stories you want to tell, and I'm glad, like Lori and Tyler, I'm glad there are boutique publishers out there like you all willing to take risks on these stories, because, you know, like Dee and Jared both said, you know, like there's an easier way out that probably has a bigger paycheck that we all could have gone down, like roads we all could have gone down, but you know, you gotta do what you believe in, and you know, follow your creative voice. As publishers, I think that's even harder, right? Because you get like, you're not just dealing with one book anymore and one artist and one letter. You have like multiple projects, all these moving components, and, you know, art is expensive, production is expensive, printing is expensive, right? So, you know, when you take a risk on these books, even when you believe in them and you know they're good, right? But they're different, or they feature brown people when the media, it doesn't like brown people right now, right? And you're pushing to make waves to get people to read these books and hear these stories. You know, you both picked a hard road to travel down for your career, but you obviously both love doing it too. But like, what sparked? Like Lori, I'm gonna have you go first, and then Tyler, I want you to follow. But like, what sparked, like, this is what Laguna needs to do, and we need to help these voices get out here. And like, and Tyler, same with you. And like, and you keep making moves, and like you talked about earlier, like this new studio and working with local artists and stuff. Like, but this is a world right now where they're trying to tell us that like empathy is a disease and a weakness, right? And you're trying to push against that in an industry that it's not cheap to push against. So like, Lori, where did, like, I don't want to be like lame, but what's your mission statement? But, you know, like, where did the idea of Laguna come from, and what makes you want to fight for it?
Since like we started the first iteration of Laguna was called Unlikely Hero Studios, and I co-owned it with Zach Dolan, and Zach was just kind of like a warrior for everybody. He stood up for everybody, and we just talked about, we initially just had a series called Super, and we talked about it, and we were like, we need to release more stories that won't get published, that won't get published by the mainstream, you know, with badass female characters, badass gay characters, black characters, all of that. And we were just like, we just decided from the beginning that the money isn't irrelevant, but it's not, like, we want to make the stories that we want to make, and we want to help other creators make the stories that they want to make. Like, I approached Dee, and I was like, I just really want to make, I love Finding Dee. I've been reading it for ages. I just want to publish it, because, like, I don't want to change it. I don't want to fuck with it. I don't want to, I don't know, do whatever gimmick it is. Like let's just sell it. It's amazing. Like, it needs to be in libraries. It needs to be in bookstores. It's fucking awesome. and most publishers don't do that, like mainstream publishers, I should say. They're just, it's a, capitalism, that's what we live in, we have to, but just really I want people to get a chance to tell the stories they want the way they want to tell them, without, like, non-minority people interfering. Like, I don't want to interfere, I just want you to make it, and, like, I'll tweak it if it needs tweaks, but it's your story. Like, let's work together. And if I write stories, which I do, like, I get consultants of whatever I need, because I don't want to presume that I know how to write a certain character or a certain culture without help. So I'm rambling, but it's I just think that important stories, they're important characters. They're not super prevalent, and we need more of them. And despite people complaining about that, like, these are the best stories. They're fucking awesome.
They're really, yeah. When I doing press, like, I never would have been like, oh yeah, slice of life stuff. Like, I dig it, like, it was like, but it does, like, it's kind of nice to read, like, get a cry out sometimes. It's just like you just read something, it breaks you a little bit in, like, the right way, and then lifts you up right at the end, maybe. And then it's refreshing in a weird way. Tyler, you do a lot of this too, like with your anthology work, like with Young Men in Love, which that you got new stuff coming with that. I hate saying IP, it sounds so lame. You got stuff with that IP coming out, but with that, you got new anthology work coming out. People I've interviewed and friends have done that. That's been such a cool project, But that's another. That's not the easiest sell to your average comic book nerd, right? Like, you read about. I know you like Gambit and Rogue almost fucking every week, but read about let's read about real love, and it's a different pitch. And you've done this several times now, and it's successfully, right? Like, this is a thing, or two. This is the second volume, right?
This is the second volume of Young Men in Love. But we've done, we did Becoming Who We Are in between. That was the 9 stories about.
And then you did Deadbeats before that, which wasn't really like identity focused, but yeah.
Around some themes that we will do a sequel, like we did a second Deadbeats, we did a second Young Men in Love. Yeah, I mean, that's why we're doing it independent, so that we can do things based off of the material that we think should be out there, isn't getting out there enough, and not because it fits in some sort of marketing or budget byline or something like that, right? Like, you don't have to like want to go through that process where somebody doesn't give it a green light because they're not sure that it fits into the right marketing position or something like that, right? Like, we're like, no, this is really good. This is something that should be out there. This is something that readers have been hungry for, because there isn't something, bringing them to it right now. So let's make it. Let's do it. Let's Kickstart it. Let's put it together, and let us get it out there. And I find most times, I mean, even if it hasn't been done before, it finds its audience. So, one of the things I've noticed publishing, especially working with distributors, we talked about, they always want to know, oh, well, what's the comp title? What should I compare this to? What sales? We're like, a lot of times I'm like, I don't have an exact comp, because I was trying to do something that there isn't something like that out there, right? Like, I can give you some broad generalizations of it, but they all want to know, tell me the exact title that this will sell exactly like. And it's like, that's just sort of eating your own, what's already been made.
That's kind of, well, the whole pitch process is kind of dehumanizing and heartbreaking anyway, right? Like, taking this this 3 volume like saga, the end of this initial trilogy, right? And like, you gotta, whether it's a publisher or a greasy nerd at a con thinking about buying a trade or two, you gotta condense this epic saga and portion of your life into a couple sentences, maybe, to like catch somebody's attention, and in such and that's how every pitch document starts, with the log lines, so it's just like, just that is like a lot, you know, but just to be like, okay, but no, what is exactly like this that's already out? You know, like what did you copy? What is it? You know, obviously that's like it's initial, like just initial heartbreak. Like, oh, like I was like, was I not supposed to be unique? Did I do this wrong? You know, and I'm glad you guys fight against
two
that.
things together and make something different. You know, it's like.
It's John Wick meets Farrell. Yeah. It's, you know, like they killed his cat this time. it's like, you know, but what are some challenges that it like in the publishing sphere other than like just Kickstarter's fucking weird right now and it's weird to figure out and it's weird to market and it's weird to. Well, you guys know it's, but like, what in the publishing sphere when let's take MEZO. Like, let's look back at like volume 1 for MEZO. Mm-hmm. What did you have like a initial problem like kind of getting that out into like reviewer hands, consumer hands, just kind of like because I feel like when people read it, they're on it, right? It's like whoa, but you got to get their eyes on it, and that's what we all struggle with this like every day now is getting eyes on this stuff.
Yeah, it's just been a continual process of like trying to get people like this is a new concept. Like it doesn't, and you know, stores will be like, well, I don't know who out of my readers would like this because nobody else is reading something like this already. And it's like, well, we're gonna have to work together to find new readers. You know, I can't just deliver you the exact reader already, or else you know I wouldn't need you, kind of thing. So that, I mean, just from the beginning, you know, volume 1, and hope, you know, I think our retention has been pretty good. So volume 2, it's like, well, there's a lot of return readers. So, you know, we just hope to keep building from there. And same with volume 3. It's the first time we're bringing it to Kickstarter. You know, I went directly to the book market with the first 2. So just hoping to get more people aware of it, people that I think will really like it. You know, so I mean, I think Kickstarter is doing better than distribution right now, at least for us. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're with a different distributor. Maybe you're doing fine, but you know, I'm happier with Kickstarter because at least you get control and can talk directly to your audience.
No, it's Kickstarter's a magical thing. It's aggravating and it's very stressful. It's also different when you like don't have a team. Because that's crazy for me to think about. Like there are some people that like Kickstart by themselves. Because like people have hired me to help. I've worked at companies that like help people do, you know, and it's just like, and it's not everybody does that or can't afford that. And so, and you can still do it. You can run a campaign solo, you know, and it's a lot of work and it's crazy, but it is rewarding and it does it seems like when you find your niche, right? You find that little nook on Kickstarter and you get like some real loyal people. Like Lori, did you guys find that like with Dee's stuff, like putting that on Kickstarter and also like did these like Kickstarters, these new trades, these colored editions, did that push traffic to your website?
I mean, it definitely brought new eyes to the stuff. Every time we do a new Kickstarter, there's new people who become fans. Either through me taking the books to conventions or stores or whatever. And, you know, my traffic's pretty steady. It doesn't really go in big spikes. So I have not seen massive, like, numbers going up, but I've seen people become more invested because they discovered it. Just having the books in color have made more people be willing to give it the time of day, because there are a lot of people that will just look at a comic book, see it's in black and white, their eyes glaze over, and they walk away.
I don't get it at all. It's so weird. I have friends that love like anime and won't read manga because they're black and white. It's like
it's not finished. When's it going to be finished? I've gotten that question.
Oh no!
So many conventions.
I would. What do you say? What did you start? Did you like snarky?
I
go to hell?
I usually get a little snarky. Like I did a graphic novel called The Well Keeper, which I have right here, which, but it's black and white. Like,
but like beautiful black and white.
I put a
Like,
lot of work into this to try to make this a very, very pretty book. And I've had so many people come up like, oh, it's like a coloring book. Oh, when's it going to be finished?
Rage.
Yeah, and it's like, this is finished. This is the finished step. If it ever gets colored down the line at some point in the future, yay. But that's like a new edition of it. That's not, the book is now finished 15, 20 years later. It's what it is. It is what it is. It's a book meant to be in black and white. I designed it that way. I drew it specifically to play to that. You know, with Finding Dee, we're taking a different thing with it because it's more of a humor comic strip style. Yes, my black and white versions are designed to look as good as possible in black and white. I do the gray toning and the shadowing and all that stuff so that it pops off the screen as best as possible so that I can do as much stuff as possible. Because if I stopped to do coloring on everything, I'd be 10 projects behind where I am now. And I want to tell the stories. I don't want to get bogged down in the production. And that aspect of it, the color, has opened up a lot more eyes to it. That, because like every now and again when a rerun comes around and I'm like, ooh, that's from one of the color volumes, I'm going to run a rerun for that and then, you know, pitch the books that way. And they always get a lot more attention than when I run a strip in black and white. I know it'd be more successful if I did it in color, but it's only so many hours in the day and I'm only one person and I'm doing 7 people's jobs. So
yeah, or you have to pay. You have to pay someone good to like color, and that gets good coloring. It adds up.
I ain't got money.
Is it? I know both. I know Dee and Lori, you have a lot going on, but is there volume 3? Is that being talked about? Is that happening? Maybe. Okay, Lori's already nodding. I'm so used to asking questions, and this is why I like talking to indie people, because like I've you know I love like I've talked to icons and have amazing conversations, but you're like, hey, are you? Oh, I can't talk about it, right? And it's like, oh. Sorry, like I'm just so used to be like, what's new? And they're like, well, I can't, you know, AIPT will run the article next week, so you gotta wait till then. So it's like, okay, sorry, but that's cool. I'm glad 3 is on the table.
I can give one bit of trivia about volume 3. It is the 3rd volume in the series. It features a series of strips about this happened years ago. A local karaoke bar did 80s night karaoke. Heidi and I got dressed up to the nines to go to this, and we showed up a week early. We were the only people in the bar dressed up. This absolutely happened. We have photos. Whenever I run the strips with the photos so people can see that we did this. But I'm like, okay, we have an entire 80s karaoke routine that's going to be in the 3rd volume. So an 80s story set in the 3rd volume. There was only one way that I had to do a special story for this. It's getting colored right now.
Oh, how exciting.
Is it going to be 3D?
Yeah,
Sick.
I love 3D. I love plastic red and green, red and blue 3D. Yeah, I've got a ton of, like, I just found that there's this company that's doing old Marvel comics in 3D.
Whoa. So
it's like Black Panther, like by Kirby, but all 3D, black and white and color versions.
That's so cool.
Anytime I see those, I snatch those up. So I'm doing a special story for this that's all about like the 3D boom of the 80s and all those movies that were coming out, Jaws 3D and Friday the 13th and Amityville, and you know you'd run to the 7-Eleven to buy a Slurpee because you get the 3D glasses because they were showing Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D on TV that night. And so I'm like, this is so cued in with the stories that are in this book. I've only got a couple of strips, but it's the volume 3. I had to do Finding Dee 3 in 3D.
Yeah, that's volume 3D. 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 Oh,
not the whole.
The name just clicked. I told you I was a great host. Dee's never coming back on the show.
3D.
He's like, he got my name wrong. He didn't get my pun. At least he liked my book. Which I did. I love.
Lori is the queen of D puns. That is quite possibly.
Well, there's
from a creative standpoint, with the standees, everything on that Kickstarter that could be depunned has been depunned, and that is all Lori.
Did you guys do anything with the D's nuts? Because that killed me. The fucking jar. Oh my god, like.
But we had D-enamel pins, we had standees, and it wasn't the digital edition; it was the digital edition. I have a problem, but it's fine.
Look,
I love it.
I picked a name that works perfectly into that. And yeah, the D's Nuts gag was an outcropping of something that really happened. I went in for an orchiectomy, and the doctors told me I couldn't keep the damn things. Once they leave my body, they're considered a biohazardous product, and I'm like, I was joking with Heidi. I'm like, I want to put these in a jar. I want to get them pickled and put them in a jar and make a label. So since I couldn't do that, I made a gag about that in the strip about how I couldn't do that.
But it's like the jar, because I mean these are like 1-page strips, right? So like the jar is essentially like a splash page, though, and it's like in the strip it's just huge, and it just like you made me laugh so hard a couple times. Like comedy. I've talked about this on the show. Comedy is hard in comics, right? Like it's just it's weird, and it like the page turns and the characters have to emote right, and the writing has to be like all the elements really have to. It's hard. That's why we don't get a lot of funny books in the funny book business. But like you're so good at it. Like you just.
Thank you.
It seems, and I know it's not effortless, but you make it seem effortless. Like your humor and like, I mean your art's great, right? Like if you look at the art, it's fun and it's alive and you know the cartoon aspect, the soft features, I don't know, everything works, right? But just the writing really gets it, and it kind of pisses me off that you just do all that yourself. Like it's too much. You need to just tone it back. I'm just kidding. Don't tone it back. Fucking get in everybody's face, D. Get in everybody's face and make kick-ass comics. All of you keep doing that authentically, like we talked about. That's what you call bringing things back full circle. It's a callback. It's a callback and a heart, because
it's a callback. And a heart.
I got to put my George Lucas on. It's like music. It rhymes.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I know it's getting late, and I've kept you all for a while, and it was great catching up and great meeting some of you and talking about publishing and taking risks, and I think the talk about authenticity, the listeners got a kick out of it, and I think I think it was an important thing to remind people, and I also think it's an important thing to remind people. It's like sometimes you got to tell people to fuck off and forge your own path that feels right, and that's scary, but I guess you got to put that vibe out there that if the risks and rewards, and if you do that, maybe it'll end up right, and maybe not. Maybe World War III always happened, but at least I want to go into World War III with good vibes, though. I want, like, if the bombs start dropping, I want people to be like, for a fucking podcaster, Blake wasn't that bad. That's all I hope for. Is he loved comics, and he used to love cocaine. That's if you watch my shows, that's kind of what it is. But no, I used to. That was old me. Anyway, it's late.
When the bombs drop, I want, and all that's going on, I'm going to be in a burned out husk of a building, and I'm like, no, don't eat me, irradiated zombies. Buy my book.
That's kind of how it feels right now, right? It's like all this stuff is happening, and we're all like, but Volume 3 is on Kickstarter. Volume D3D is coming soon.
Why check in on Iran? MEZO's on Kickstarter, brother.
I feel like that's a constant feeling nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, like promoting yourselves, but I do, even though like I think it's weird too, but I like it when you zoom out and pull back a little bit. I think what we do for people, you guys do it more than I do. But like, you put these stories out there and you give people a distraction, and you show people real human traits doing real human goodness in
Which
these
frankly
pages.
speaking, in the stories that we're working to tell, and what I'm trying to do with Finding Dee, and what you're trying to do with MEZO, we're also fucking telling stories that those in authority don't want being told.
Yeah.
Authentic stories from people who they don't want us to exist. So there's a little bit of, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh yay, I'm fighting the power and I'm drawing comic books, but I'll tell that to myself and make myself feel a little bit better.
That is kind of fighting the power, right? That is an element of resisting.
This is my Molotov cocktail.
Fuck
right.
Yeah, I love that. I said that needs to be a T-shirt, like, but no, because then it'll look like
Dee's
we're burning
nuts.
books. Yeah. That's phenomenal. All right, well, yeah, it's not going to get any better than that. So I want to go around. I want to go around real quick. I want everybody. This is your chance. I mean, obviously we know books. Dee, I've got your books linked. Lori's to the Laguna shop, and I got the link to your website and stuff. I got links to MEZO Kickstarter. But I want to, if you guys have mailing lists or social medias or web shops or events, anything going on, now's everybody's chance to get some goodness out. Tyler, let's start with you, bud.
Everything I do is on awbw.com. You can find a Wave Blue World and Tyler Chintaner on social media. And the Kickstarter is live. So awesome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, it was really cool. I for real love your comic. Thank you also for sending me. I took a break for a second, right? And I haven't got press stuff in a while. So it was like cool to like get books, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to do that. I used to do that. So yeah, you made me feel relevant for a second. So thank you. I appreciate it. But the books, they're so beautiful. Even your bookmark is fucking, I love that book. I love a good bookmark. I know it's so dumb to say, but I do. I love a good bookmark, and it's just nice. But yeah, the spot glossed pages, the art, the colors, everything's wonderful. I had such a blast reading it. I had a blast talking to you, Tyler, and Jared. I'm so stoked to see what you bring to the MEZO world. And hey, all you need to get out there and get on the Kickstarter and dump some fucking money into it, so that this isn't just a trilogy, it's an initial trilogy. Like, we need to get it funded. There's probably some cool stretch goals and shit. Go get it. Go. All right, Dee, tell us where to find you and keep track of you and all your amazing comic strips and hilarity.
I'm at findingdee.com, artofdeefish.com. I'm on Substack at Finding Dee, where I'm posting. I'm doing process blogs, all kinds of stuff. Patreon is /Big Pond Comics. You can get the strip a week early. You get blue lines. You get time-lapse videos of the inking. You get extra features on Fridays. All kinds of fun stuff. Huzzah!
Nice. Go do it. Dee's art's amazing. It's hilarious, and there need to be more people need to read it, and more people need to feel comfortable talking about their life and experiences like Dee does in these strips. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I hope it may like even me, like I'm not like a marginalized person, right? But it clicked with me in a few ways, and reminded me of things that I don't think about, right? And so yeah, I think so many people can get so much out of reading your book, Dee. For real.
Thank you.
Everybody check it out. Same with MEZO. Like, fuck Game of Thrones. MEZO is way better, and it doesn't have a season 8 to break your heart and ruin years of watching the show.
That's the pull quote right there. MEZO Volume 3, fuck Game of Thrones.
Fuck Game of Thrones. Blake's book. Tyler, you're welcome to put that on the back of your book. Jared, I know you're kind of taking a break from social media, but do you still do your mailing? Because you used to drop like bomb ass knowledge heavy Kickstarters every now, or newsletters every now and then. Are you taking a break from that? Are you still doing that?
I am relaunching a new newsletter. This is actually news. I haven't told anybody this, except my closer friends, right? Like my wife and like Kyler, I guess. But yeah, I'll be dropping a new newsletter that'll start in August or September, and it's going to be stories about my personal life. I've been doing a lot of activism with immigrant rights in Texas for a very long time. I want to talk about some of those people and their lives, and not necessarily their lives about coming to the United States, but just who they are as human beings. I'm also going to be putting up more prose, and I have an experimental prose thing that I'm hoping to launch through that newsletter by the end of the year, but that kind of depends on a lot. But that's the goal. It'll launch in August, though. It'll be up.
Exciting. You do a good newsletter. You really do. You've always put a lot of thought into it, and you put a lot of. It's like when Charlie Stickney gets on a talk and talks about Kickstarter. You drop a lot of good knowledge. I still remember the post that you did. I think when Southland was out, maybe, but you talked about the pre-launch and like the power of the pre-launch and how, like, you know, you have like another 30 days of content before your campaign starts to like take advantage of. Dude, I pitched that to clients. I was like, no, dude, like we have a whole. So anyway, it was real, and I made money off you. I appreciate it. I felt like kind of.
Always.
It was great. It was really good advice, because a lot of people don't realize you gotta get people into you get them to sign up, and you talked about, like, you know, like the releasing a cover every week or something before the campaign, and just little stuff like that, little things you can do to try and get eyes on your campaign, because that's the battle. So anyways, yeah, it's super stoked. Keep an eye out for that newsletter, because it will be beneficial for your indie comic experience. And it just sounds like if you just like to read cool stories and stuff too. I'm down. I'm excited. On that note, Lori, last but not least, where's the best place to keep track of you and the projects at Laguna and all the cool stuff you all have going on?
LagunaStudios.net. Website's good. Social media, just Laguna Studios Comics on Facebook, on Instagram, Blue Sky, all of that good stuff. I think that's it. Laguna Studios on Kickstarter. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's some cool stuff coming that I can't talk about because Lori made me sign an NDA. Wait, can I say that you made me sign an NDA? Did I just get fired?
Now you're that guy.
Fuck. I don't know how this works.
We're gonna sue you for telling people no. Yeah, we have a lot of shit coming down the pipeline. There's so many cool books coming out in the next year. But 3D Volume 3.
Stoked. I'm stoked. I'm stoked to wear the glasses and probably cry, because you made me cry a couple times too, Dee. Also, Sarah says this was a really great show. Awesome folks. Awesome conversation. Thank you so much. Oh shit, is that Dee David? Dee David is on. It's popping in late. Some of my favorite people. Oh, you're so sweet. David is on. He'll be on in July soon. So yeah. Everybody, this was great. I had so much fun. Jared, it was great catching up with you. Tyler, it was so great to like sit down and talk with you. Dee, it was so great to meet you. Lori, you're my boss now. Thank you for giving me a shot and everything. You are perfect. Laguna Studios is perfect. Buy all their books. But no, I'll buy follow these creators, keep track of them, consume their stories however you can, whether it's webcomic, library, Kickstarter. You owe it to yourself to read good comics. On that note, love more, hate less, read books. Don't get stupid. The government loves it. We don't want to do that. We'll be back next week. I always forget where the button is to stop the stream. Okay, so we'll be back next week. Get Finding D, get MEZO, get that titty mouse pad, there's a bundle somewhere. I'm sure you can buy them somewhere. And maybe for a stretch goal, there will be a cool MEZO mouse pad too. Probably not. I don't envision that happening, but who knows? We'll throw it out there. Tyler's
In
gone.
3D.
Tyler's backing away. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. See you next Wednesday. Have a wonderful night and read some comics.